I'm Kelsey. This is my channel, The Fancy Hat Lady Reads. I'm wearing my fancy booktube hat, and this is the December TBR video that I told you that I wasn't going to do. Now, the reason that I said I wasn't going to do a TBR for the month of December was that I basically previously committed myself to a lot of books over the last few months, started a bunch of books, said I was going to read a bunch of books, made a commitment to myself to read a bunch of books that were just way more books than was going to happen those few months. So I was going to be in December trying to get through some of those superfluous things that were just hanging around my currently reading shelf for me. Some things have come up though that I will be reading this month that I either haven't talked about or haven't talked about recently enough that I would expect you to remember that I've talked about them in the past, and some of the things that I have said I'd want to read in my most recent TBR videos have been bumped off to the new year for me. And specifically, I've got a couple library books here that are going to be due back by the end of the month, so if I don't show them to you physically now, you won't see them physically on this channel at all. So the first book that I've already read in the month, I finished Child of the Prophecy by Juliet Marillier, which I started during Tome Topple at the end of last month. I do have several other books that I've had theoretically in progress for a long time, and I've chosen two of them that I do want to finish by the end of the month. One of them is Death at Dartmoor by Paige, just because this is my sort of mass market paperback that fits in my purse, and I would like to finish this by the end of the year because I want to loan this book on, and I can't do that until I read it. It's also, you know, lighter reading, which is always nice during stressful holiday times and whatnot. The other one that I keep forgetting is a book that I theoretically have in progress because I was listening to it on audiobook and then I was just like out of the mood for audiobooks for a couple of months and forgot that I was still listening to this book on audiobook. It's The Lake House by Morton. I'm about a third of the way through it. I am expecting to be back into audiobook listening mode, maybe for wrapping Christmas presents and such, so I do hope to finish listening to this on audio by the end of December. So there are a couple other things that are still technically on my currently reading shelf that are not these books that I'm not probably going to get done by the end of the year. I'm specifically thinking about The Once and Future King. I'm not continuing on with that yet. I will though. But I have a couple library books that I do need to read and return. The first of those is Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi. I've had a hold on this for several months. It finally arrived and I will have to return it just in a few days here. So this is what I am reading right now, and this is going to take most of my reading focus until the due date when I will return it. And then I have an interlibrary loan that I'd been waiting on for a while that finally came in, and that is, you can't see it because it's the interlibrary loan thing, this is The Stone Fae by McKinley, which is a short story of hers that is out of print in this sort of illustrated book form. I'm not supposed to slip this cover thing off of it while I have it out on interlibrary loan. It says do not remove band. I'm not going to take it all the way off. I just want you to see the cover a bit. So this is what the cover looks like with the sticker on it. See, I didn't take off the band. I did not remove the band. But this book is illustrated by John Clapp. I need to get the band back on. And as I said, this is a short story of McKinley's. It takes place in Dartmoor. It's one of several short stories of hers that takes place in Dartmoor, which is the kingdom of The Hero and the Crown and Blue Sword. And I don't think this story is in any of her other collections. This story is in an anthology that she edited, but I don't have access to that. And I really wanted to see this illustrated hardcover book edition that is out of print, so I placed an interlibrary loan on it. It's mostly just text, but then there are several of these illustrations like so. So this is going to be something that I'll just, you know, sit down and read in one sitting, and it's a story from one of my favorite authors that I haven't read in a cool format. Then the last book I physically have here that I really do want to read in December is this advanced copy that I have of The Mountain of Kept Memory. This was a November release. I've been wanting to do a double review of this along with Of Fire and Stars because that was also a November release, and I think that would be a good thing for me to do, is to do a double review of two recent releases from the same month. But to do that, I have to read this. So this is a very high reading priority for me right now, even though I don't really know what to expect from this book. And then the last things that I would like to get to in this month are tied to the fact that I'm a member of a Goodreads group called Into the Forest that is reading through the holiday season this year a couple of sort of Christmas, Santa Claus, or Yule-tide themed books. I'll link the group below. There are 3 book categories. I want to hit 2 of them. We're reading for an adult novel, Hogfather by Terry Pratchett, which is, I think, the 4th in the Death series. And I've read the first 2 in the Death series. I actually have the 3rd one waiting for me at the library. So I don't know if I'll be able to get through the 3rd book, Soul Music, and then on to Hogfather in time, but I'd sort of like to try. And then for an original fairy tale fiction story, we are reading Hoffman's Nutcracker. And this was something that I had been thinking of reading this year around the holidays for a long time because I'm interested in the original story and various adaptations of it. And this should also be relatively short. So unfortunately, this list of books involves procrastinating a bunch of other things that I had thought were going to be high priorities for me to finish by the end of the year. Those being like The Once and Future King, The Watchmaker of Filigree Street, which I keep renewing at the library. Luckily, there are no holds on it. And Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I had really hoped that these would be my December reads, but I think that's not happening, so I wanted to update you with a more accurate TBR. Anyhow, it's been nice chatting with you. I think that is all for today. Bye for now.